Well, I posted a bunch of short clips and stuff happening, but I haven't really done a talking lengthy update, and it's because I have been thrashing on this thing endlessly, honestly, for the last 2 weeks without rest. I'm still cleaning up my garage, but I have an issue here where I'm making about 500 to 550 horsepower in the teens boost area, 14 to 16 pounds. I can't seem to clear this 550 horsepower hump. If I beat the shit out of it and I run like 20 some pounds, I'll make like 590, which is way too much. It shouldn't be struggling like that. That's ridiculous. In my opinion, like a $200 eBay GT45 should easily clear 500 wheel with a decent cam below 14 pounds of boost, like 11, 12, 13, it should clear 500. So I have a billet 76 on here from Forced Inductions, and I had a 87 turbine on my last 5.3 with low compression and a small cam, and that made 720 on 17 pounds of boost. It was retarded. And my Chinese turbo made 740 on 23. It made over 700 on 21, and it made 680 on 17, 18. You know, it was clear in the mid 600s in the 1 bar range, 15 pounds. And for the life of me, I can't figure it out. I'm not sure what it is. It's ever since I put the aluminum motor in, and I've done almost everything you can think of. I'm still thinking of some things, but we noticed the one day that my mile an hour was low, so we swapped out the transmission and converter, and there was like silt everywhere, so I think all my clutches were gone and that other trans. So I got a trans from Mark, and a local guy built me a billet converter, and my mile an hour is way up again, 140, 150 easy, 355 gears and a 28-inch tire. And honestly, I've just been spending the last couple days swapping cams, valve springs, spark plugs, wires, coils, changing everything in the tune, inspecting my hot and cold side piping, degreeing all the camshafts, putting any number of timing and boost in and out of it, going back and forth to the dyno after I change everything. Last couple days I had the whole front end of the motor apart when I would come home from work, tear down the front of the motor, degree the cam, go back to the dyno, make no power, come back, change cam, go back, make no power, degree that cam, change the valve springs, change the cam again. Literally going nuts, and I can't figure it out. I changed the fuel in the car because I was running on mostly ethanol, testing out the content sensor, and we were like, well, maybe the ethanol is shit. Maybe it's mostly water. We can't figure that shit out, so I put straight gasoline in. Makes the same power. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Obviously, I use more injector to make the same power with mostly ethanol, but none of that stuff is working at all, getting nowhere. So I just figured I'd update you on this. It's mostly extremely frustrating, not mostly, but extremely frustrating, and I just keep picking away at it. The only other thing I can think of is, I mean, these cylinder heads are stock, so what the fuck could be wrong with them? And I hook up the air pressure to hook up the to do the valve springs. I put air into the spark plug hole, and I don't really have a lot of leak down. I guess I could put a leak down tester on them. My compression is good in every cylinder. It's like 185 in every cylinder, so that's awesome. I was thinking about, these are 706 cylinder heads. I was thinking about putting a set of, I have like 6 sets of cylinder heads. One of them are 862 or whatever with the notch in the cylinder that takes a special head gasket, and then the others are 317s, and the 317s will lower my compression, but at this point, just to see if it's the cylinder heads, I was going to swap them, and I can't imagine what the hell is wrong with the motor. And we had a lot of people bring up a point, maybe it's the Megasquirt, maybe it's the MS3 and a 58 tooth motor, and maybe something's wrong. And honestly, we've gone over everything. I had that video where I not mechanically, but I marked the balancer and I checked the ignition timing. So that means if the ignition timing is right, that means the cam sensor and the crank sensor are seeing everything correctly because it's igniting at the correct point no matter what RPM. So then I degreed the cam and checked that. You can do a thing with Megasort called a composite logger, where it logs all the crank teeth down here and it logs all the cam teeth and events up here. And you can basically line them up and see what's going on, and all of that shit is dead on. It all makes sense. The car sparks in the right spot. If you change any of those settings, try to fuck with them, the car doesn't run, it backfires, it carries on. Obviously that stuff's incorrect. The car runs, fires, drives beautifully, gets decent gas mileage, everything else. So that's difficult, and we aren't really getting an answer there. The only other option I have is my buddy has a mock-up motor of mine. I have this is the 5.3 that had the oil issue. She's still sitting over here. I'm probably going to use it for a mock-up block, you know, why wreck it? But my buddy has my other mock-up quote-unquote motor, and it's just a Gen 3, like a 01 5.3. I'm considering just slamming that thing in, putting one of the cams in it and seeing what kind of power it makes. And if it makes 100, 200 more than this one is, you know, we got to do some more investigation with this aluminum motor. The only other cool thing that I actually fucking got done at all was Mark, the transmission I got from Mark has a trans brake in it. So what I can do is my anti-lag can activate. Don't mind all the wires. I pulled a lot of shit out to wire the anti-lag. Not like I hide the wires anyway. Let's be truthful. What you can do here is when you turn on the anti-lag, it turns on the trans brake. And then this MS3 has a built-in what's called a bump box or a turbo car staging button, because bump box I think it is owned by Davis, so they have like a copyright on it. I don't know if you can actually use that word. If you're a company, you might get sued by Shannon Davis. But so this car will actually, you can come up to the staging lanes, you can hit your first bulb, you can hit the anti-lag button, you can put the gas pedal to the floor, it'll make gas loads of boost, open the wastegate, hold at whatever RPM you want, you can bump another button, and it'll lurch in. I put up a video of me doing that in front of the dyno. My spacing was incorrect. The delay was too long, so I was getting too much of a tire rotation. I was doing mini burnouts, and then I let my trans brake go and it flew. But I think I'll stop the video quick and I'll make another video after the update here showing you how I have everything wired, how everything's working. So we'll do that now. That's it for the update.